All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're going to treat Oracle Fusion Cloud Order Management like what it really is, a massive, highly tuned manufacturing plan. I mean, think about it. You've got a system where a simple, everyday customer click on a website is seamlessly transformed into a perfectly orchestrated supply chain event. That is exactly what we're breaking down today, the absolute journey of order import and transformation. So, how does that actually happen? How does a click become that supply chain event? Well, to answer that, we need to get into the really dense mechanics of data ingestion and mutation. We're heading down to the factory floor, so to speak, to figure out exactly how our raw materials, which in this case are source orders coming from external systems, arrive at the loading dock, get unpacked, and then get heavily modified so they're genuinely ready for fulfillment. Here's our blueprint for the explainer today. We'll cover order import methods, the end-to-end pipeline, transforming for fulfillment, the 6 transformation archetypes, and finally, setting the rules. Let's get to it. Starting with Section 1, the loading dock order ingestion methods. When it comes to capturing orders, you generally have to pick between 2 main entryways. On one hand, you've got the high-volume bulk file uploads of File-Based Data Import, or FBDI. This is your go-to when you need to upload new orders, update existing ones, or cancel order lines in massive batches. On the other hand, you've got the real-time API connector integration of direct web services using SOA or ADF. That's what you use for direct, real-time integration with your channel systems, like configure price quote applications. Now, if you're using FBDI, your data moves along what is essentially a rigorous 5-step factory line. You start off by creating your order file from a provided template. Then you upload that whole package to a universal content management account. From there, you run a scheduled process to load the data into your interface tables, and then another process to import it straight into the base tables. Finally, you just review the log output to confirm which orders succeeded and to troubleshoot any errors that popped up. But you have to pay attention to the precision required here. Moving data from those interface tables into the base tables means setting some very specific parameters. Specifically, your batch name, source system, or source order number. You absolutely have to provide at least one of these. Why? Because a single uploaded file can contain multiple different sets of orders, and the system literally needs to know exactly which batch to pull onto the line. Alternatively, there's a completely different loading dock if you're dealing with business-to-business transactions. For orders that aren't priced in Oracle Pricing Administration, you can tap into the B2B messaging framework. This leverages the Oracle Collaboration Messaging Framework to exchange electronic data interchange, or EDI, messages directly with your trading partners. It's a highly specialized, dedicated route for partner integration. Moving on to Section 2, the conveyor belt, the end-to-end import pipeline. This sequence basically takes that raw channel order and runs it through a gauntlet. First, the channel order is set. Then it hits cross-referencing, where customer and item data are mapped out using the product model and trading community. Next is pre-transformation defaulting, which applies some basic logic, like maybe selecting a shipping warehouse. After that, we hit the heavy order transformation, followed by rigorous validations. We're talking checking tax determinants and configurator rules, before the order is finally fully saved. Which brings us to Section 3, the assembly station, transforming for fulfillment. This is where we see a really critical before and after difference. Initially, a source sales order is totally customer-focused. It might just say something like, deluxe accessory package. It's bundled. It's simple, right? But the transformed order gets systematically converted into a detailed, fulfillment-ready format. That single, simple package gets split out into specific fulfillment lines for a docking station, a mouse, an AC adapter, and a keyboard. And remember, all the actions taken in order management are done at this specific fulfillment line level. Section 4, the 6 modification tools, also known as the transformation archetypes. The first archetype, product to product, is exactly what we just saw. It's totally perfect for breaking down a bundled package into individual components. The sales order says laptop package, sure, but the transformed order creates separate lines so the warehouse can pick and fulfill the laptop, the dock, and the mouse entirely separately. It just makes sense. Next up is attribute to product. This transformation grabs specific transactional item attributes selected by the customer, like let's say the size is 8 megabytes and the color is silver, and it automatically swaps that generic product name out for the exact inventory part number, like VIS41A. It beautifully bridges the gap between what the customer clicked and what your inventory system actually recognizes. Now, context to product is incredibly dynamic. It doesn't just look at the product itself, it relies on the surrounding environment, the context. For example, it looks at the final shipping destination. If the system sees a UK address, boom, it instantly appends a UK-compatible power cord to the order. If it's a US address, it adds a US cord. It automatically adds those regional necessities without the customer even having to ask. Conversely, we have product to attribute. This tool is great because it actually cleans up the order. A lot of times, upstream systems send extraneous child lines like a completely separate line item just for gift wrap. This archetype takes that separate line and neatly folds it into a simple attribute tagged directly onto the main headphones order line, which just makes the whole order so much cleaner for the fulfillment team to read. Then we've got attribute to attribute transformation. This one lets you map separate and sometimes frankly messy raw data points from the sales channel into a single consolidated attribute that your fulfillment team actually uses. If the sales channel sends over separate attributes for style and glass, this rule seamlessly merges them into one highly useful pane style attribute on the transformed order. And finally, the sixth tool is context to attribute. Similar to our earlier context rule, this reads the situational data of the order. By recognizing a domestic shipping address in the context, it automatically tags the order with a required domestic packaging attribute. It ensures you're hitting compliance and proper handling without any manual data entry whatsoever. All right, Section 5, the blueprint, setting the rules. So, Oracle Business Rules operate on what's called a forward chaining inference cycle. It uses standard if-then logic, but it is super dynamic. When an if condition is met, the then action triggers. But here's the magic part. That action can generate entirely new facts in the system, which then cascade into triggering even more rules. The cycle just keeps going until no more rules can be fired, ensuring every single possible policy is applied automatically. Now, to organize all this dense logic into a functional system, you're going to use a few core components. You have your facts, which are your basic data inputs, your conditions, which evaluate those facts, your actions, which actually change things. You use bucket sets to define ranges of values, and everything is neatly stored in XML containers called dictionaries. It's a highly structured way to ensure your business policies, like, say, free shipping over $200, are flawlessly executed every time. But look, if building complex decision tables out of XML dictionaries sounds like a complete headache to you, Oracle actually offers an alternative. The Visual Information Builder provides a highly visual, totally user-friendly interface to set up things like pre-transformation defaulting rules. It really makes programming this whole factory line accessible and highly intuitive. So, now that we've walked the factory floor and you understand the dense mechanics of this pipeline, from the FBDI loading dock to the 6 transformation archetypes rewriting your orders on the fly, it's time to evaluate your own supply chain architecture. Your data might be flowing, sure, but you really have to ask yourself, are your transformation roles working as hard as they could be to create the absolutely perfect, fulfillment-ready order? It might be time to dive into your Oracle Business Rules and see exactly what you can optimize next.